glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show. It's time to GTFO. Get off. Let's go. I'm excited about this one. We're talking 49ers edge rushers. We're talking Robert Beal Jr., the number one, according to most, of the GTFO stat. We're going to be talking about that in this episode. I'm really excited to talk edge rushers because not only do I get to talk about one of my favorite things, defensive line, but also Kris Kocurek, and boy, is he a lot of fun. And Robert Beal is going to be added to this team, and he's an absolute speedster off the edge. That 4.48 speed in a combination with his 6'4", 200 and close to 50-pound frame means he's a moldable clay that Kris Kocurek can get his hands on. And if you want to hear my breakdown that I did pre-draft on Robert Beal, just head over. I did one on Draft Gems. Guys, the 49ers could get an edge rusher later on in the draft, and they did. They selected Robert Beal Jr. with pick 173 of the 5th round. So the San Francisco 49ers got an edge guy. Most people thought they would get maybe two. But with the depth at the 49ers defensive line, Robert Beal Jr. fits a specific role, which we'll be getting into. But we'll also talk a little bit about, how exactly Kris Kocurek likes to locate these players and what GTFO stands for, because I think it's going to be a new term that we're going to hear in 49er land for a long time. Now, what the 49ers have been doing traditionally since Kris Kocurek got to the San Francisco 49ers in 2019 is they've been taking players and fitting them into a wide 9 defense. Wide 9 means you play the end or edge rusher outside of the offensive tackle. There are different classifications and numbers depending on where you're lining up. Wide 9 is way outside and gives you a lot of room to be able to play with distance and create separation between you and an offensive player with space. It just makes it more difficult for an offensive tackle to be able to block you. So finding guys with really good speed and traits to get off the football is something the San Francisco 49ers have been doing. It started with Dee Ford. Dee Ford, also a 3-4 outside linebacker out of Auburn, and then he played for the Kansas City Chiefs with an elite first step. There's no one that could really do it at the level of Dee Ford that I've seen in a while. Of course, they're the normal names of some of the greatest players of all time, but Dee Ford, minus injury, could have been one of those prolific pass rushers, especially playing opposite of Nick Bosa. When Dee Ford was out of the picture, the 49ers tried to go with Samson Ebukam. Samson Ebukam, another 3-4 outside linebacker, played for the Rams in their 3-4 scheme, and also had a lot of speed at 4.5. Tremendous speed coming off the edge, a little bit of a shorter frame, but still was able to set the edge against the run, be a 3-down defensive end, and still get a career high in sacks of 5 this last season in 2022. So Robert Beal fits what the 49ers do as far as edge rush. A outside linebacker in a 3-4 that they're going to have put his hand in the ground and let him go over and get the quarterback. It's hunting season for this speedster right here. And I want to hear what Kris Kocurek had to say to Robert Beal, and it'll give you a really good idea of Kris Kocurek and what exactly they were seeing with this pick of Robert Beal.
Robert, what's up, man?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Better now. Hell of a lot better now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. You ready to get off?
Yes, sir, man. Already.
Yeah, man. Get that hand in the ground. Get your key in that ball and let you go fast.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Anyway, man, hey, I'm excited, man. I've had an eye on you for a while.
So I appreciate that,
yeah,
man.
Like the way you play, like the violence you play with, man. Let's rock.
This is exactly who Kris Kocurek is. I mean, he's looking for guys that can be absolute beasts, and that's what I think he's getting with Robert Beal. Now, they have a specific role for what they want him to do and how they want him to get after the quarterback. What is his role going to be early on is probably going to be different than what it ends up being down the road. But the 49ers have Drake Jackson. They got a pick 61 last year, and Drake was able to develop a full season playing for Kris Kocurek and playing with his hand in the ground. He was another guy that USC tried to move off ball and have him play linebacker. Now that he's transitioned back in, he was able to play pretty well. He had 3 sacks in his rookie season and was able to get a lot of balls batted down. So the 49ers are looking for guys off the edge that can bend. Now, Drake Jackson is not a 4.4 speed guy the same way that Robert Beal is. So what is GTFO? It is get the F off. It means how fast you can get off the football off that initial snap. Some of the way that you can see it, it was with, if you go back and you watch D Ford, there was a lot of times he was past an offensive tackle before they even had a chance to get fully into their kick slide. He was able to get past them and then bend the corner around and make a play. You have that opposite of Nick Bosa, and what you get is people flowing into Bosa or flowing away from Bosa where you can track them down and get after them. Also, what it allows you to do is to be able to run stunts on the interior. Now, if you put Drake Jackson and you put Robert Beal on the field at the same time, one of them can go inside, one of them can go outside. By lining up on a guard, it's already more difficult for the guard to be able to block those individuals. But now, if they're able to stunt and you have Robert Beal, say he starts over the guard, loops around, he has outside contain but is bringing pressure, and then you bring Drake Jackson in, now those guys are having to move their feet and having to stay in unison. One of the things about playing offensive line is you want to know where defenders are going to be so that way you can give help, whether that is as far as slide protection or also just give help when they're coming through. The inside man is always the most dangerous to the quarterback. So confusing what their pass protection is going to be, and also if a running back is helping in pass protection is very important. Being able to put pressure with 4 guys from your interior or from your defensive line means you're going to be able to keep more guys in the secondary. Also, with the confusion up front means blitzers can get through. And that is something that Steve Wilks likes to do at a high level. So what Kris Kocurek likes to do is grab these players that make a lot of sense for his football team. Guys who are quick, guys who have a great first step. And that's why the GTFO was started. It's guys that can get off really quickly and get after the quarterback. And we're seeing that the 49ers definitely want this. Finding players like this is not easy. Finding guys who are 6'4", 250 pounds, but can get off the ball and then run a 4.4 like Robert Beal is not easy to find. But Robert Beal is not just a one-trick pony. He's not just a speed guy. He's also got a really good long arm. He gets his hand into the chest plate. It is able to control offensive linemen and then use moves off of that. Of course, he can just try to drive them back and use his strength, which he does have. Sometimes I think it's not utilized enough, or sometimes even people don't give it enough credit. But I think that long arm is going to start a lot of things for him. He has really good length for his size. He's one of the better as far as length and height in the draft that he came out of. So I look for Robert Beal to be able to make some plays on the edge. Also, you throw in his athletic ability, able to bend the corner, make plays that way. So long arm, bend the corner, those are all great things. Does he want to win with speed first? Yes, I'm sure that'll be something that Kocurek will want to do, because if he flies upfield and a tackle has to fly with him, it leaves a void on the inside. So if you're going to have a player playing on the inside over the guard, that's going to give them a lot of real estate to be able to make plays. One of the biggest things an offensive line does not want is space. What do defensive linemen want? Space when they're rushing the passer. That space allows them to be able to get up the field and create penetration to make plays. Hitting 2 defensive ends, Nick Bosa, in this case Robert Beal, or maybe even Drake Jackson, and them flying up the field to the quarterback depth will create space for the interior defensive lineman to be able to make plays inside. Also, when they're double teaming Nick Bosa, now they have to worry about speed on the backside, because now normally you could leave someone unblocked in the run game, double team Bosa at the point of attack, and then get down the line of scrimmage and be able to run the ball. Now with Robert Beal, if he's crashing down with Drake Jackson, if they're able to crash down in pass sets, of course, Robert Beal will have to continue to develop in setting the edge, but he can get down the line of scrimmage and make those plays. There's also the factor of running quarterbacks and more mobile quarterbacks. He is definitely equipped to be able to athletically stay with them and string them out to the sideline and allow help to get there. That's one of the most important things to do, is not let one of these players get vertical quickly. Getting vertical a lot across the line of scrimmage makes it tougher for linebackers and other defensive linemen help. Making him go horizontally or forcing him to the sideline will make it easier for defensive players to be able to come up and help. So it's going to be an exciting thing for Robert Beal and seeing how he fits in the system. How quickly will he develop his pass moves? I think that's going to be up to him, Kris Kocurek, and Darryl Tapp. How quickly can they get him to another level? We know he has a really good straight arm, and he has good moves that come off that. He also has a very impressive spin move, which is important when you're a speed rusher. You can get up the field and then spin back to the inside. A lot of times you can get to the quarterback. The key about the spin move, though, is you can also take yourself out of a play. So if you have outside contain, you have to make sure you spin at the right time. It has to be you've went up the field and now you're spinning back to the quarterback. If he's able to get back and around you after you spin, that's going to be a bad play for you. So the spin move can be very, very good for a defensive lineman, or it can be problematic. But I think in this case, Robert Beal knows what he's doing. He's going to be able to fly up the field, put pressure on offensive tackles to have to fly out there with him in their kick slide, and then be able to use their momentum going upfield to go back inside with a spin move and get to quarterbacks. I think he was a solid pick by the San Francisco 49ers. At pick 173, it made a lot of sense for me. He was a guy that I definitely liked in this draft, and I liked his fit in Kris Kocurek's defense. So the 49ers continue to add players that are going to be able to bring pressure off the outside. They have a combination now of guys who have great speed, guys who have bend, and guys who play against the run pretty good. So they're putting together a good edge defensive line to go with an interior defensive line that is absolutely stacked. This is going to be a fun season. Kris Kocurek is one of the funnest coaches in the NFL. If you have the opportunity to go to training camp, go. You will hear Kris Kocurek down at the right side of the end zone yelling at the defensive lineman pretty consistently to GTFO, and they do it better than almost any team. It's very exciting to watch. Looking forward to seeing how Robert Beal is going to be able to get to the quarterback in this 49ers defense. One thing about Robert Beal, he had 6 sacks in 2021, playing for a very good Georgia defense. There's a lot of potential for him to be able to get to the quarterback here for the San Francisco 49ers in whatever package they decide. But you got to be fast to play in this defense, and you got to be quick off the ball to play for Kris Kocurek. Will you be quick and hit that like button for me? I'd really appreciate that. If you're watching it for the first time, give the give the channel a subscription. I'd really appreciate it. But I thank you guys all so much for watching this episode about Robert Beal. What do you think? Did you like the pick of Robert Beal at 173? Do you think he's going to make a huge impact on this defensive line? Was he the perfect complement to Nick Bosa and Drake Jackson? Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. And there's going to be plenty more content coming out about the rest of the draft picks, including D. Winters, who the 49ers selected at pick 216. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next time, stay safe. And remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.